Ever felt stuck in a maze of contradictory advice? You're not alone. In psychology and spirituality, things aren't always black and white. We're exploring two mind-bending concepts that will challenge everything you thought you knew about personal growth. Buckle up. First up, the isolation paradox. We've all heard the warning signs of abuse. A big red flag is when someone tries to cut you off from friends and family. It's a classic manipulator tactic, toxic, dangerous, and a clear sign to run. But what if sometimes isolation could be key to your growth? Sounds crazy, right? Hear me out. Imagine you're stuck in a toxic environment. Your friends and family, well-meaning as they might be, are part of the problem. They're reinforcing negative patterns and holding you back. You're surrounded by people who are themselves stuck, their lives a web of emotional wounds and unresolved traumas. They wear victimhood like a badge of honor, constantly reinforcing that life is unfair and change is impossible. In this environment, your struggles become normalized. Your pain is met with, "That's just how life is," instead of, "How can we make this better?" It's an echo chamber of negativity where every setback proves growth is futile. These people, trapped in their own cycles of despair, unknowingly anchor you in place. Their limited perspectives become your world's boundaries. Dreams are dismissed, ambitions labeled delusions of grandeur. The danger is subtle but profound. When everyone around you operates from fear and limitation, it becomes your default too. Your vision for what's possible shrinks. The extraordinary becomes unthinkable. Mediocrity feels like the best you can hope for. This is where temporary isolation becomes crucial. Sometimes you need to step out of this collective pessimism fog to see the bigger picture. You need space to realize that your normal is far from healthy or inevitable. A true mentor would recognize the need to create distance from these influences, not to cut you off necessarily, but to give you a chance to recalibrate your sense of what's possible. It's about providing a new vantage point beyond your current environment's limited horizons. But here's the tricky part. How do you tell the difference between a manipulator and a genuine mentor? The key lies in intention and end goal. A manipulator isolates you to keep you under their thumb. A mentor creates temporary distance to empower you. One seeks to control, the other to liberate. A manipulator's ultimate goal is to disempower you. They want you dependent and malleable. Their tactics erode your self-confidence and decision-making abilities. They'll discourage outside opinions, label your friends and family as toxic without justification, and position themselves as the only source of truth and support. They'll feed you doubt and fear, making you question your judgment. The world outside their influence is painted as threatening and incomprehensible. Your isolation becomes a prison, with them holding the only key. In contrast, a genuine mentor aims to provide better tools. Their goal is your empowerment, even if you eventually outgrow them. When they suggest distance from certain influences, it's always with a clear purpose. They're not looking to replace your support system, but to help you build a healthier one. A true mentor encourages critical thinking, even about their own teachings. They provide resources for independent growth and celebrate your increasing self-reliance. The temporary isolation they propose is like a workshop space, a safe environment to develop new skills before re-engaging with the world. Importantly, a mentor's endgame is your independence. They're working to make themselves obsolete. Their success is measured by your ability to stand on your own, not your continued dependence. When evaluating someone's influence, ask, are they trying to make you need them more, or equipping you to need them less? Are they narrowing your world or expanding it? Do they encourage questions or demand blind faith? True growth might be uncomfortable, but it should never feel like captivity. A genuine mentor lights the path ahead, often a path that they themselves once took, while a manipulator tries to convince you that they are the path. It's a fine line requiring keen discernment. You need to trust your gut, but wait, that brings us to our second mind-bending concept. Follow your intuition. It's the self-help guru mantra. Sounds empowering, doesn't it? But what if blindly following your intuition could be a recipe for disaster? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your intuition isn't some mystical, infallible guide. It's shaped by your experiences, fears, and emotional wounds. If you've been hurt before, your intuition might tell you to run from every opportunity. If you've been manipulated, it might steer you right back to another abuser. Your so-called intuition could be nothing more than knee-jerk reactions and unresolved traumas. Following it blindly is like using a broken compass. You'll end up even more lost. Most associate intuition with that powerful gut feeling, that aha moment. But our brain often signals as intuitive something that's simply familiar. This is where somatic science comes in. Our bodies store memories not just in our minds, but physically. When we encounter a situation reminiscent of past experiences, our bodies can react before our conscious minds process what's happening. If you've spent years as a victim, your body's accustomed to certain tension patterns and chemical responses. When a situation triggers these familiar responses, your body reads it as right or intuitive, simply because it's known. This is why abuse victims might be drawn to similar relationships repeatedly. It's not that they want to be hurt again. The dynamics feel familiar, and that familiarity is misread as intuition. The body's response is lightning fast. You might feel a rush of adrenaline, chest tightening, stomach fluttering. These physical sensations are interpreted as significant, as a sign. But often, they're just echoes of past experiences. Neuroscience backs this up. Our brains are wired for efficiency, always seeking patterns and shortcuts. When we encounter a situation similar to past experiences, our brains quickly categorize it based on that data. This rapid categorization feels like intuition, but it's just our brain's pattern matching system at work. This is why it's crucial to question our intuitive responses, especially after trauma or prolonged stress. What feels like protective intuition might be a maladaptive response, keeping us trapped in unhealthy patterns. Breaking free requires a two-pronged approach, cognitive and somatic. Cognitively, we need to critically examine our instant reactions. When you feel that gut response, pause and ask, is this truly intuition or a conditioned response based on past experiences? Is this repetitive? What results do I always get from this? These questions help you identify patterns and their outcomes, pushing you to consider whether your intuitive responses are about true inner tuition or just obsolete familiar patterns keeping you stuck in a cycle. Somatically, practices like mindfulness meditation, yoga, or somatic experiencing therapy can increase awareness of your body's responses. These practices allow you to observe physical reactions without immediately acting, creating space between stimulus and response. Over time, this work can recalibrate your intuition. You can learn to distinguish between genuine intuitive insights and conditioned responses, developing a more nuanced understanding of your internal signals. Remember, true intuition should lead towards growth and healing, not keep you trapped in familiar but unhealthy patterns. If your intuitive responses consistently lead you back to unfulfilling situations, your internal compass needs recalibration. This process isn't easy or quick. It requires patience, self-compassion, and often professional guidance. But the payoff is immense. A genuinely reliable intuition guiding you towards health, growth, and fulfillment, rather than familiar pain cycles. So how do we navigate this minefield of contradictions? How do we distinguish between helpful isolation and harmful manipulation? How do we know when to trust our gut and when to question it? The answer lies in developing a nuanced understanding of these concepts. It's about moving beyond black and white thinking and embracing shades of gray. Seek outside perspectives. Sometimes we're too close to our issues to see clearly. A trusted friend, therapist, or coach can offer valuable insights, helping distinguish between true intuition and learned responses. But here's the real secret. Your most powerful tool is the ability to hold two contradictory ideas simultaneously. It's about embracing paradox. You can be open to guidance while maintaining healthy boundaries. You can trust your intuition while questioning its origins. You can seek isolation for growth while staying connected to a support system. This is where true wisdom lies, not in absolutes, but in balancing opposing forces. It's a dance, a constant adjustment, navigating personal growth complexities. You have the power to rewrite your story, recalibrate your intuition, and choose relationships serving your highest good. It won't be easy, but it's worth it. If this video challenged your thinking or opened new possibilities, share it. Hit subscribe to explore more mind-bending concepts. Lastly, what paradoxes have you encountered in your growth journey? Share in the comments. Let's start a conversation and learn from each other. Remember, the path to wisdom isn't always straight. Sometimes it's in the twists and turns we find our greatest insights. Until next time, keep questioning, growing, and embracing life's beautiful complexity.